Hello, friends, and welcome to the adventures of Rory and Squonk, a Hot Ticks production. We're a 5E homebrew podcast from eastern Oklahoma, and our characters are set, so far, on the continent of Nahal. I have with me today the gentle Emily.
Hello.
Playing Rory, the herring-gone rogue, and the illustrious Shay.
What's up?
Portraying Squonk, the sheltered cleric. And I'm Laura, your DM for this adventure. Let's get started with Rory. Dear Rory.
Mm-hmm.
And dear Rory, we find on an epic adventure, he's gone camping with his family. Beautiful campsite down a rural road, trees, a babbling brook, sun shining, birds are singing, and nothing could be heard except the screaming of small rabbit children.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about right.
Because how many siblings do you have, Rory?
I have no idea. There's a lot.
There's a lot. And our wonderful parents, Charles and Dawn, the Jamesons, have been kind enough to take their children camping. So they come into the campsite and they park their wagons, and small rabbit children come pouring out like clowns out of a car.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lovely time, honestly. It's not often that you guys get to do things as a family simply because there's so many kids. And it's a lot to keep up with. But at the same time, kids, deserve those adventures. So your mom and your dad say, it's time. We haven't done this in a while. Let's take the kids out. Let's do something as a family. And so they're setting up camp. Your sibs are zooming around, and little Timmy's crying off to the side somewhere because, things happen. Tim's going to fall and scrape his knee every single time.
Always.
Or, get abducted Timmy by the rest of your siblings, or get left in a wagon unsupervised. And Rory goes off and Rory has kind of an adventurous spirit.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me what Rory's doing while his sibs are tying up Timmy.
Tying up Timmy.
Should be a chapter all to itself. Tying up Timmy.
I definitely say Rory would be observing from afar, kind of cheering, leading the charge, all the fun things.
Okay, so we'll say that dear Rory wanders off a little bit from the crowd, feeling his adventurous oats.
Yeah.
And there's some trees, and he finds a couple of really large rocks, and sort of ducks back behind to spy on his family from afar and have those great childhood imaginations where you get just a little time and a little space to yourself, and you could imagine being a pirate, or being
totally go all out as a pirate.
There you
sure,
go. So he's pretending to take out his spyglass and spy on his siblings, and then Timmy kind of turns your way, and you duck behind the boulder, and you notice at your feet there are a couple of objects there that you had not seen before. And so you see sort of some shreds of fabric, and you see like part of a mess kit, and you notice kind of under another rock a little further away, you see the corner of something that looks an awful lot like a book.
Intriguing.
So do you go over and take a look at it?
Oh, of course, yeah. He's going to rummage all through that.
Oh, well, okay. So if you're kind of picking up some trinkets, and you see the corner of this book, and it's old and it's a little dirty, but it looks leather bound, looks kind of like maybe somebody's journal. And you notice that as you pull this book kind of out, and a little bit of the soil around it's a little loose, and well, it kind of looks like there's almost a little passageway under this boulder.
Gasp.
There's definitely like a depression there. Do you want to check that out?
Oh, of course. He's going to dig all through that and try and work his way in.
Oh, well, if you're going to work all the way in.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Hair and gone being what they are, and a little rabbit digging. And, you notice that you discover that this is more than just a little, a dent in the dirt, that there's actually a small little chamber under this large rock, under this boulder.
Mm. And
as you get a little further in, you find a backpack. You find a bedroll that's been laid out. It looks like somebody's been here. And you don't see any marks or tracks, like it's kind of dusty and there's some cobwebs and that kind of thing, but the things that are in there are still dirty, but serviceable.
Mm. So how big is this chamber, so to speak?
About twice the size of a 12-year-old hair and gone.
Okay, yeah.
Conveniently.
Right, I know, yeah.
And it's kind of comfy, and you feel kind of, hey, I've got a sweet little hidey hole here, and there's some stuff. And so you kind of nose through the backpack, and whatever you happen to have in your inventory, your starting inventory, those things you'll find there.
Yes.
In your backpack and mess kit, and notice that there's seem to be some weird looking like tools, maybe a small little hammer, and being 12, certain things are fascinating.
Yeah, he's gonna feel like he's just found gold.
It will. I mean, there's a tiny silver bell in there. There's some string. Yeah, I mean, this is like Boy Scout treasure.
Possibilities.
There should be some merit badges down here somewhere.
Yeah.
And so you're going through this, and it's like, wow, I wonder whose stuff this is. And so you open the journal, and tell me what you find in that journal.
Well, I was imagining it would be more of a noble's journal.
Oh, I see, a nobleman.
Oh,
very good.
Yeah,
excellent.
Yes. That's just barely taller than a 12-year-old Harrington, of course.
Of course,
yeah.
Yes. It's Lord Farquaad.
Yeah. Pretty much, why not?
It's big enough space,
Size of a one-bedroom apartment in New York,
Yeah, there you go. Good studio boulder.
Oh, yeah. I'd imagine he'd have a lot of just drawings, like a dude trying to make a collage of nature-related factoids, Alfred Winslow.
Alfred Winslow. All right, so I'm going to ask you a personal question, Rory, and I don't want you to feel pressured to answer this. Does Rory read? Can you read, Rory?
I don't. He acts like he can read, he might be able to pick out a couple words, but that book is totally upside down.
Okay, so you're flipping through, and Lord Alfred Winslow, at least in Rory's mind,
yes,
has done some sketches, and so you kind of stretch out in this space, and you're flipping through this diary, and you're seeing these. What quality are the illustrations?
I'd say probably someone who. They think they're good at drawing, but, they did their best.
Proportions are a little off. That lizard's got, is that one eye or two?
Yeah.
So you run across Lord Alfred's drawings, and when you get to them, you can't help it. Your adventurous mind comes up with stories to go with them. And so you're kind of daydreaming about, oh man, I wonder what adventure happened with this one-eyed lizard. How did he lose that other eye? and so you make up little stories in your head. And the next thing that you are conscious of is a tremendous shaking and a horrendously loud thunder crack. And you wake up.
Oh.
Not realizing that you have fallen asleep.
My mind.
What's your reaction?
He'd definitely be a little startled. You know, obviously with a loud crash and then realizing he just woke up. He would probably go nosing around and try and peek back up topside, just kind of get an idea of how long he's been asleep.
When you poke your nose out from under the boulder, you're a little surprised to not see daylight. It is pitch black, other than the lightning strikes around you that temporarily light up the rocks around you and a few of the treetops, and it is pouring rain. Doesn't look like it's been raining for hours and hours or anything, because your hole under the rock is still dry.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be for long. What does Rory do?
He would definitely try and investigate, see if he can find his family anywhere around.
Okay.
You know,
Then
anything like a trace of where they could have gone, if not.
Then make an investigation check
Woo-hoo.
for me. It's the first
First
roll of the
roll.
campaign.
Right here. Let's see if I have anything in investigation.
I bet you do. You rolled
Oh yeah, I have +5 in
insane
investigation.
numbers. Yeah.
Yes, I did.
I've never seen any character anywhere roll the numbers that this kid rolled.
I don't think I have either. I don't think I've even rolled a character better than this. That is a good old-fashioned 10 total.
A 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 10 total. Rory kind of scrambles out of his dry hole. The ground is becoming wet, but it's not super saturated yet. But Rory comes out and heads back to the last place he remembers, the wagon and his parents, expecting to see his family, but doesn't.
He's gonna panic a bit. I'm not gonna lie. He's gonna be a bit distressed, for sure.
You see one of the oak trees on the edge of the clearing looks like about a third or a fourth of this tree, a huge limb that's about as big around as Rory is, has come down. And it looks like that was mighty close to where the wagon had been parked. And then you notice that there's a shape next to where the wagon was. And so Rory walks over to take a look at this shape, and you recognize this right away as your own backpack. It's got Rory written across, and the second R is backwards. Timmy probably wrote it for you.
Probably. Pesky Timmy.
And there's a note on top of the backpack, but when Rory picks it up to open it, it's rained on it so much that the ink has just run, and you really can't tell what's on. So, Rory, how do you react to this turn of events? This is not what you expected.
Definitely not. No, he's gonna be pretty sad, mad, all the emotions. Freaking out a little bit. He'd probably grab his pack and try and examine the note, but after noticing it smudged, he'd just kind of get discouraged and probably try and make his way back to the hole since it's pouring down rain so hard.
Okay, fair enough. And so are you going to try and go back to sleep, or do you just panic a little bit, or?
He'd grab what he could.
Okay.
And kind of manage his own stuff and figure out what he has. Try and be realistic about it as he can.
Okay.
Is water, actively coming into the hole, or?
It's beginning to get awfully damp under there.
Yeah. When he was up above ground, is there, anything nearby that could possibly act as a better shelter, or?
Make a perception check.
That is a good old-fashioned 16.
A 16. There's definitely, you could definitely pull off some tree boughs, especially off of that oak that has fallen. That would be really easy to grab some foliage. You might be able to sort of bank up the earth a little bit so that it wasn't flat and then immediately down, so that you had a little more protection. It's a good way under this piece of rock. So the very back of this little space, you're probably safe to stay fairly dry. But if you left your belongings and that kind of thing up more towards the entrance, they're probably going to get, pretty wet.
Right, okay. I mean, he'd probably just, after everything that's happened, he'd want to stay put, honestly. And just kind of take things in and probably cry a good bit, honestly.
Probably. And you go through the backpack, your Rory backpack that was left, and you can see that there's a water skin in there. There's food in there. So you can tell that you're bright enough to be able to put together, okay, they couldn't find me. Something happened. They had to go, and they at least left me, food.
Mm-hmm.
So poor Rory rides out a rough night under this boulder, and just with the company of his own fears and Lord Alfred and his nature sketchings.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually the storm clears and quiets, and you're able to catch a little bit of sleep. And so you wake up probably mid-morning, still smelling damp earth in your nose, not really remembering exactly where you are, much like a good couch nap. When you wake up and you're just a little disoriented, and then the events of the night kind of come back to you.
Yeah.
And upon investigating, the campsite's kind of a wreck. You see more boughs down. This little storm had some teeth to it. There's the campsite's muddier than it was, and you don't even have tracks left to be able to see maybe where the wagon is gone. What do you do, poor Rory?
Yeah. This is going to be pretty sad for him.
Yeah.
He'd gather his things and...
12 and alone.
Mm-hmm. It's Home Alone all over again, except in the wilderness. Oh, yeah, he'd gather his things and come topside, and if he can't find any tracks, he'll try and go in the general direction that they came in.
Okay, so he's going to do the best that he can to remember and try and backtrack.
All the pirating and, long, hard naps may have disoriented him, but he'll try his best.
Takes a lot out of a rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you head back towards Warrensburg, where you're from, and you're on the road for, a good while. You get hungry. And stop and eat some of the things that your poor family left you, and and head back down the road, and it's beginning to kind of be late afternoon, and you hear a sort of rattle in the distance that sounds like wheels on the road. I'm sure for poor Rory that sounds like hope.
Yes.
And so Rory runs forward down the road, and he sees a long pair of ears and some little hooves, and there's a cute little donkey, and he's pulling a little two-wheeled cart. And driving the little two-wheeled cart, there's an older human man, gray hair, kind of hunched over, and it doesn't look like either one of them's truly in a hurry. They're just making their way the best they can. Clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop, slowly down the road.
He's going to frantically approach them, you know. Have you seen my parents anywhere? I got lost from them, but I don't know where they are.
You've lost your parents?
Yes.
Well, when did you see them?
Oh, I saw them yesterday, but then I went into a hole, and then I took a nap, and there was also this book from this one guy. It was all just a weird situation. But I don't know where they are.
I see. You seem very upset.
You could say that.
Well, it sounds like, do you know where they went?
All I had was a pack and a note that I can't even read. Rain is not cool.
Oh, yeah, it makes my left knee hurt. I feel it coming on sometimes. I have to say, my knee hurt an awful lot yesterday.
Oh, I can imagine. So there's a lot of rain.
Yes, indeed. We stopped and we camped, but I don't... And you see him look like... He kind of looks up and away off to the left, and he thinks for longer than he should. And then he looks down and he says, I don't think I lost anybody. You're not mine, are you?
No.
You
don't have rabbit ears, so I don't think so. We have a pretty big family.
And you see him kind of like his eyes drift up, like he's trying to remember what the top of his head looks like. And he's not sure. And you think, okay, this guy's kind of old. But he's all I've got right now. Well, young man, what is your name?
Oh, Rory.
Hi, Rory. And he extends his hand and he thinks for another minute. He goes, I'm Steve.
Nice to meet you, Steve.
You too. You too. You look lost.
Yeah.
Oh, that's...
Yeah.
Rory, I think what you need is a finder.
That would be nice. Though, you'd have to remind me what a finder is.
Well, a finder is somebody that's their whole job is to find things for other people. And, well, now, some are better than others. But I tell you, the best finder in these parts is old Oliver Talbot. He's in Lansdale, and I hear tell that given time, and perhaps a bit of coin, or is it turnips?
You just see Rory's eyes go wide, just in awe.
Anyway, old Talbot, well, he can find just about anything there is to find.
I did lose a sock one time I've been dying to find.
I promise you he could find that sock.
Okay, parents, sock, maybe something else. I'll think of it later.
Well, I think that would be a good place to start.
Sounds like it. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome, and I tell you, I'm not going all the way to Lansdale. That's a long journey for, well, old Bessie. But well, we're going part of the way. I can at least get you to the main road headed to Lansdale.
That would help a lot.
Oh, that's wonderful. You know, I got to tell you, Bessie is a joy, but sometimes it's nice to have company.
Agreed.
Okay, and so, you happily clamber aboard Steve's cart, and the two of you make your way rolling down the road in the opposite direction that you had been traveling for a few hours now.
Mm-hmm.
Headed towards Lansdale.
He's gonna trust this man full-heartedly. This finder is just, it's out there, and he's ready.
He's ready. Awesome. All right, then we will leave Rory on his way. How are you feeling? You ready?
Yeah, man.
You ready to rumble?
Sure.
I don't know what I should say for hockey things.
We're ready for puck drop?
Puck drop?
Puck drop, baby! It's where the referee stands at center ice. You get your two centers in front of you, and he drops the puck, and they fight for it and see who wins the face-off.
That's never going to come out of my mouth correctly. That's going to come out it's going to sound like pup drop, and it's going to sound like you're punting puppies across ice.
Oh, man, I'm fine.
Okay.
We do have ice dogs. That's where a lot of NHL teams, they will sponsor a service dog.
Oh,
and
I see.
At the end of it, they will give it to one of the fans that have applied for it. And they usually look at a needs-based issue of it.
All right, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, we just got a new one. The Buffalo Sabres did, because we usually do it towards the end of the season if it's of an age that it's graduated their school. And we have a serviceman night, and it usually goes to a veteran that needs a service dog.
And that's very nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. That kind of gives you a little hope.
And all the players, their warm-up jerseys will usually have names of a lot of the local community veterans on them, and they'll be presented those jerseys at the end of the night.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Ice Dogs is such a cool name.
It is, and they'll bring them out on the ice sometimes. They'll get to walk around and whatnot. Sometimes we give them a little kid stick, and they get to play with the puck. It's great.
Man, all right. Well, if we're ready for... If we're ready for puck drop...
Right.
We'll get there, yeah. Puck drop.
Yeah,
Too much enunciation. Puck drop. All right, then we will move on to the next segment of our adventure today. In the interior of the continent of Nahal, somewhere sort of nestled in a mountain foothill, is the quiet village of Fishguard, where sheep are numerous, as are daydreams of a more exciting life. Squonk doesn't live in Fishguard, but it's the closest realm of civilization that exists. Dear Squonk is a good, probably 10-15 mile walk beyond Fishguard in a quiet homestead. And Squonk awakes to his usual morning routine in his small abode. Would you like to describe Squonk's home and give us a view of kind of what Squonk's morning looks like?
So Squonk lives in a one-room cabin, and whenever he wakes up, first thing, it's with the sun practically, he goes and he makes himself a cup of coffee, drinks it, then goes out, and it's time to tend the cattle. Up with the sun, he'll set with the sun.
All right. Tell us about this cattle herd.
It's not a huge herd. He's just one boy out here in this back pasture that he's got all to himself. He'll go out. First, he's going to run through and he's going to count, make sure all 10 head are there. Next, he's going to run through. He's going to see, do I need to put out any more hay? And if not, that's fine. And he also goes through and he'll have feed bags that he will, just like normal feed, and the reason why he puts that out is it helps keep them gentle. Helps keep them used to people, so that if he comes up around them for something important, if one of them's hurt, they're not going to immediately freak out and try to run away and end up hurting themselves even more.
Okay. Well, Squonk's going through his routine. He's checked on the herd, and the herd seems content, and Squonk's wandering back towards the cabin when he hears a voice, a familiar voice, call out, "Squonk! Squonk, I need to talk to you!"
Mama? And Squonk, I guess, is going to look around for where she's coming from.
And it kind of takes him a moment to search with his eyes the source of this shrill halfling woman's voice, and eventually he lays eyes upon the familiar sight of Laverne Meadowmane.
Yeah, I do want to clarify, though, the reason it is familiar is not because she comes around often, it's because he's got a picture of her. In person, he probably has not seen his mother probably since he was around 7, when they deemed him old enough to be able to take care of himself and stick him in the back pasture.
And Squonk, you can see that she is noticeably older. Like, the voice is unforgettable. The face is not exactly the mom you remember. She's aged.
I think that's going to take Squonk back a little bit, because it's just going to put it in perspective how long it's been since he's seen her. And there's going to be a stirring of something deep in his chest. He's going to ignore it, though, because that's going to be something he doesn't want to unpack at the moment. We're going to ignore that as long as possible.
Okay. Well, and you look up, and Laverne looks up and then immediately looks back down at the road and kind of averts her gaze. She won't look at you directly. "Squonk, I come out here to give you something."
All right, Mama. What is it you want to give me?
Well, I don't know how to put this. And she's carrying a lot more weight than you remember. And she finally kind of drags her body up, huffing and puffing uphill a little bit to kind of meet you out on the walkway towards the cabin. And she stops probably 8 or 10 feet from you. There's not an embrace. There's, like I said, not the direct eye contact. And she seems to be holding what looks like a small wrapped package that seems to be wrapped in a soft leather with cord around it. The cord is a nice sort of heavy embroideried cord. You're not sure, what it's made of. And she's also holding what looks like a folded bit of paper. And she says, "Well, Squonk, I don't know how to tell you this. I got a letter today. And it's for you. And it seems as if your daddy has passed on."
What?
I got a letter. There was a courier. He was on horseback, and he came and he knocked on my door in town, and he said, "Are you Squonk Meadowmane?" And I said, "Well, no, but I'm his mama." And they said, "Well, I have a delivery for Squonk, and I can't seem to find it."
And I said, well, I can take it to him. And so I paid the man, and he got on his horse, and he went away. And so I came out here, and, well, I was tidying some dishes there in the kitchen before I left, and yeah, I picked up my knife from dinner, and it just kind of slipped through the string that would, and it just kind of fell open, and I
Mama,
saw.
it's fine. I know you opened up my letter. It's okay.
Oh, well, I appreciate that, Squonk. I'm just trying to, look after you the best way I know how.
You've always done right by me, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I did. I took a peek at it, and I'm glad that I did, because I kind of need to prepare you, because this letter here is from a man named Oliver Talbot, and apparently this come all the way from Lansdale.
That is
that's quite a ways away, Squonk.
Yeah, that's a hop and a skip.
And I got to tell you, I'm a little confused, because I hadn't seen your daddy in a little while, but he just lives across the town, and I thought I saw him not 2 weeks ago. But apparently, according to this letter, your father's passed on.
And you can see that she is just pale and visibly shaken. She gets a little misty-eyed, like, you can tell that even though they have not been together for some time, that she still has deep feelings for your father.
Mama, you want to come in, and Squonk's going to move towards her a little bit. Do you want to come in and sit down for a second and take this in? You don't look too well.
Well, Squonk,
and you can tell that she's searching for something.
And she said, well, no, I don't think I'd better.
It's clean, I promise. I just dusted yesterday.
I know you keep a good house, Squonk. You always did. Sometimes when you'd be out and maybe you'd gone to the pasture. Back when I was still living out here, I'd kind of come in and check, and you're always a very capable young man, and I don't think I've said it enough to you, Squonk.
Well, I've just always wanted to make you proud of me.
Well, Squonk, it makes Mama feel good. I remember when I'd look at your work, when I'd hand you off your lessons from your accounting book, and you'd put them back in the mailbox for me to look after. Yeah, I'd go through and I'd read it, and I'd say, you know what? I don't know where his brains come from. Must have been your pa's side of the family, but.
And then you can tell she stops and something's really sinking in. And she says, again,
your pa's side of the family. God rest his soul.
And it's dawning on her that she has to use past tense.
Well, Squonk, I'd look at your work, and I could tell you were a mighty smart boy. And you were special in a lot of ways. And I'm real sorry about that, selling my part of the farm off and moving to town and not telling you. When
Can you back up there for a second, Mama?
And she takes a step back.
No, I don't mean physically.
Oh?
Let's rewind that mouth of yours a little bit. What did you say about selling your part of the farm and moving away?
Well,
and not telling me?
Well, I didn't right know how to break it to you, and there was a nice young couple that come out, and they was passing through, 'cause, I don't know how much you hear out here, but people are starting to move more. We see a lot of more folks coming out from Lucifer and Rock, and seems like they're blazing the trail. Used to, you didn't see. You see folks coming and going a whole lot from out there, but apparently something's changed, and the disease that was going around. Well, apparently they found something for that, and folks are just on the road more, and well, they stopped and they offered me a real good price for it, Squonk, and since your daddy's been gone, it's been kind of a struggle to get everything done, and with that kind of offer, well, I could have moved to town and have a little bit easier life. And well, I came and I knocked on. Well, no, I stood in the yard and I yelled for you, but you must have been out with the cows. I didn't see you, so it was just kind of a done deal after that. And I moved to Fishguard, and well, it's been just fine. I have a little flower box on my own, and I almost had a cat once, but now he lives with a neighbor. That's fine. That's fine. And every once in a while, Squonk, I'd see your daddy. And we'd stop and we'd talk. And well, Squonk, that was just fine.
As she is talking, something is hammering against Squonk's mind that he just can't ignore, and he has to get out. Mama, I'm real happy that you are happy. But you found it easier to hike out here and tell me my daddy's dead than to come out here and tell me you moved?
Well, you see, when I got this letter here from Mr. Talbot, and I'll pass that along to you, and she hands you this, very tentatively, as she has to move up towards you, like she is hesitant to even be in your space. She hands you this letter.
Oh, he quickly snatches that out and is still just staring at her deadpan.
And she's very much just like, she tries to look up a little bit, and it's like when she meets your gaze, she just can't. And you don't know really what the motivation there is. Maybe it's his looks. Maybe it's her shame. Maybe it's just she doesn't have a matronly bone in her body. And she said, well, when I read the letter, you see, there's more than just a letter. There was a package for you, and well, I mean, when you look at how it's wrapped, well, I just couldn't trust anybody else with that, Squonk, and I wanted to deliver it myself, and I just felt it was the right thing to do, and it's real interesting. I didn't peg your father as a wealthy man, but, well, maybe he put a little something aside for you, Squonk. Maybe your daddy, too, in his right way, done right by you. As, and he left when you were mighty small. Maybe this was his way of saying he was sorry. And she holds out this leather-wrapped package. And now that it's closer to you, you can see that this is not just some random, sorry, Rory, this is not some rabbit skin pelt or something. That this is something that was handcrafted. This is a fine piece of leather that was made to hold this package. You can see that there's, the stitching in it is well done. And this is, this is not just something cheap and common. This cording looks like it's probably silk.
Squonk is gonna take that with a lot more care than he did that letter. And he's going to hold it at his side, and he is going to look at it a bit confused, a bit befuddled. And he's going to look back at his mom and take in that full picture again. Everything that is her, the looking down, the avoiding his eye contact, the physical distance that she has created there. And he's just going to nod to himself. Well, all right, Mama. I appreciate you coming out and bringing this to me. I know that must have been a walk from town.
Well, Squonk, I felt like it was the least I could do.
Yeah, I would say it is the least you can do. I hope you like your flower box.
Well, okay, Squonk. Well, I'm gonna head back to town. I got some errands to run, and, well, I'm real sorry about your daddy.
I am too. Hope you see your cat on the way out.
Oh, well, okay. Thanks, Squonk.
And she just very casually sort of gathers herself with a look of relief. And the last thing you see is kind of her eyes cut towards, the package that she gave you. And there was a little bit of hesitation, like she really didn't want to leave. And then she kind of put it together in her head and went like, well, I'm out of here. And Laverne turns and slowly makes her way down the path, not out of any sense of hesitation, but just out of physical age catching up with her.
Squonk's gonna watch her until she gets to about the bend behind the trees that he can't see her that well anymore, and he's gonna go inside. And he's gonna carefully set the letter down, not gonna read that one yet, and he's gonna very carefully start to unravel this package.
Okay. Well, as you pull the silk cord and untie the knot, it's not a particularly heavy package. The weight is mainly from the leather. And when you begin to unfold this, turns out that, this is something that's inside like a pocket. And when you pull back the first sort of leather flap, if you will, you reveal that this is actually kind of a mid-size leather pouch. Now, on a halfling, it's going to be a little bit larger. So it would be, say, the size of maybe a loaf of bread. And you're able to pull back the first, what would be the cover or the lip of this. And there are straps inside. And you can see that this is a really fine quality leather. And as you kind of go, wow, I mean, this is soft to the touch. And someone who deals with animals every day, and, I'm sure at some point you've lost someone in the herd, you can imagine that this took some time to really tan and really put together and craft. And as you're kind of looking in and going, you feel something else inside this pouch and reach in, and there is a silk scarf that's well made, but it's sort of a natural silk, not like a spun silk, and it's undyed. So it's kind of an off-white. And you can feel that there's something inside of this. And as Squonk unrolls this scarf, there is a long silver chain with an amulet that hangs from it that has a large green stone in the middle. Kind of like adventurine would look in its natural form. And there's a small slip of paper that just says, "To my son." You don't recognize the handwriting.
All right. A little confused, he's going to carefully set that aside, kind of wrap it half-heartedly back in the silk, and he's going to pick up the letter now, and he's going to open that up and read it.
And it is addressed to Mr. Squonk, Meadowmane. And it is an introductory letter from a man named Oliver Talbot from Lansdale, who had business with your father. And in the event of his death, that your father has requested that you come to Lansdale for both information and for your inheritance. And it lists Mr. Talbot's address there in Lansdale, and is signed sincerely, Oliver Talbot, Finder.
All right, Squonk is not quite sure how to take all that in. But one thing that he does know is that he is not going to get answers to any question that he has sitting in the back pasture 15 miles outside of Fishguard. And so already the pieces are starting to fall into place in his mind. First thing he's thinking of is, well, if I'm going to be making a trip to Lansdale, I got to figure out what I'm going to do with the cattle. And already pieces are falling together. He's going to put out enough hay, figure out about what distance that would be, how much hay he would need to put out. And he's going to make the journey into Fishguard before he goes out. He's going to leave a letter for his mother. That if he is not back by a certain time on a certain date, she can do what she wants with the remainder of his herd.
Okay. And so how does Squonk, does he set out on foot?
No, he does not.
He does not.
Squonk is going to go, and he's going to start strapping his bag up to his favorite cow. The one that he has bottle fed since she was born. Bald-faced beauty of a cow named Viola.
Viola!
Heck yeah.
Do you have a saddle for this cow?
You don't need a saddle. You just need a cross-thonged rope, and you can hop up on that bad boy and you just hold on.
I see. Okay. Well, then as the morning, as Squonk's morning kind of comes to a close and the events are far different from anything that Squonk had anticipated for the day, then he and his bestie bovine, Viola, hit the road and begin to head to the northeast towards Lansdale. And we will see where the road takes dear Squonk from here. Now, I heard a dirty rumor that we have at least 30 seconds of new hockey news.
At least 30 seconds, yeah.
What's the news on the rink?
What to pull from first? I mean, I think the news that affects me the most is the changes that the NHL has made to their app, their mobile app. I can no longer see who my roster is and who my goalie is, and that upsets me greatly.
Oh dear.
And I would like them to change it. I would like this podcast that at this point in time no one has heard of to be the call to action to change this feature. Also, the layout's too big for my phone screen. I can't see anything.
There you go, kids. You heard it here first. Okay. NHL. Get your app together. Emily, what happened at the store this week? We need store news.
Man, okay, I'm gonna need a second. I can't.
You take all the seconds you want. We have so many seconds.
There's just so much that happens. But I don't know. After
I can read you another hockey news, so I have something to choose from if you would like.
At some point, you realize both of our 30-second bits will just become hockey news.
Might just have to do that, honestly.
There will be 90 seconds of hockey news and us saying, okay, bye.
The next thing you know, this entire podcast is just a hockey podcast.
It's just hockey podcast.
It's just hockey news.
There's just too much.
Well, you had the estate sale.
I did, yes.
That was different.
Okay, I can't talk about that, I suppose. Well, we had an estate sale this week. They finally decided to tackle it, and after months of painful preparation that I had to be there for, we finally did it, and it actually went pretty well. There was one lady who came in and spent over $1,000 in one purchase on a card, and I was just so surprised.
Wow.
It was like
that's a lot for here.
Mm-hmm. And then there was another lady who bought like over $100 worth of custom kind of costume jewelry, more so.
Oh my!
I'm still hung up on this card, like a Hallmark card.
Oh no! Like her credit card.
Oh, her credit card. Okay.
Yes.
I thought this lady was buying this Hallmark card at the estate sale.
That'd be excellent.
No, she was maxing out her card at a little local estate sale. Careful with your credit card, kids. You'll end up in financial counseling.
Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah, you don't.
But she didn't go for the Elvis decanters.
Oh no, there was just too many of those. Too great of a deal.
That's sad.
They were literally like over a foot tall, and just Elvis decanters everywhere. They loved Elvis.
You don't get that everywhere.
I mean, depending on the price, buy one, stick it in a classroom. That's a story piece. Buy more than one, you're a lunatic.
They even had posters, like, there was this wooden picture that was, like, hand-carved, and I think even had, like, a signature on it. It was...
Of Elvis?
Yeah, of Elvis.
Wow, okay. Die-hard fans right there.
Definitely. And then all their CDs were just Elvis.
I'm pretty sure I know 5 different old women who are just that.
Just Elvis collectors?
I mean,
yes, it's just their personality.
Funny enough, I think, okay, so it was an older couple. Husband died, I think about maybe a year prior, but I think he was the Elvis fan, actually.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And she kept it all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, bless her. That's loyalty.
Definitely.
All right, well, 30 seconds of permaculture news from my corner of the world. We lost trees in our neighborhood due to wind or flooding. I'm not sure. I slept through most of it. But we lost a willow tree over the road that was probably 75, 100 years old. That was sad to see that go. And I lost a trashy box elder that's, now split into several pieces and bending my greenhouse frame. And so I have fun things to clean up, which, that's just part of it. Still got 14 mulberry trees in the ground, and they are watered in and doing beautifully. So it's a trade-off. We lost some, but, we'll just see it as making space for new trees.
'Tis the way of nature.
'Tis the way.
Mulch it, grow mushrooms on it. Be great.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
I'll cut it into chunks and put all those chunks together and just make another border for yet another bed, fill that full of compost, and slowly change the soil. Doing our thing. Well, okay, friends, this was session 1. We had a good time. We hope you had a good time, and we will see you the next